Hmm. All right. Yep. There is no skip for this, so when you start a new world, this is exactly what you will see. You cannot, unfortunately, skip this, so that's perfectly fine though. So it allows you to read through some of the kind of lore of what Valheim is. And the first thing that'll happen is you know, get flown in with with the crow. It'd be a big crow, but it's still a crow. Hmm. All right. Yeah, I know nothing about this seed, so we'll find it together. So I do know that certain seeds, there are really good ones and really bad ones. You can go search those. Just type a Google search, and you can find a really good seed, or you could find one, or you could just start a random one. I chose to start a random one because it's like, all right, let's just see what we can find. And it looks like spawn is going to be right here in the meadows, which is good. Right around hi, that's a lot of trees. And bam. All right. Yeah. Blah 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 blah. Grab up this. And you go around, you grab up a bunch of materials right away. Hit tab to actually open up your screen here. This will allow you to craft a hammer. This is kind of the most basic tool that you can get. Once you craft your hammer, you walk around and you grab up a bunch of stuff. Once you're able to do that, you need to make yourself a crafting bench, so you can actually do things. Okay. Holding shift gives you your sprint. Okay. Oh, I have that selected. That would be why. Yep. You can knock down trees, and that'll give you a basic your basic tools. Hammer, stone, axe. Requires a little bit more stone than I have access to at the moment, but that's all right. Yep. I did eliminate the grass here, and so that way I could actually see what's on the ground, because it's really hard to see what's on the ground if you have the grass turned up. So you'll find abandoned structures like this all the time, and sometimes you'll find bees, sometimes you won't. Um, if you find a bee's nest, those are actually really, really handy because they create honey, which are really useful items. Okay, so we'll create ourselves a stone axe. All right, there we go. ourselves a little bit of more firewood here. Okay, if you hit the R key, it will on your standard keys, it will give you access to putting the item on your back, and if you hit R again, it will recall that item. So right now what I'm doing is I'm hunting for flint, I'm hunting for other things. In order to get access to like a pickaxe or something, or something of that sort, you're going to need to go and grab enough materials to make yourself a bow. Now to make a bow is fairly simple, it's not terribly hard. I'll show how to do that here in a minute once I get enough materials to do things. Okay. Alright. Yeah, just kind of exploring. I do need flint. I need quite a bit of that. You need about 15 pieces in order to do an upgrade. One of the upgrades is very, very good to have. That's a boar, I think. Or no, it's not a boar, which is good. Okay. Looks like a little village right there. That'll be helpful. Okay, we got a grayling right here. So combat is very simple. It's just left click, right click. Left click is your main attack. Right click is your block. If you have a shield. If you don't have a shield, then it won't block. Those things are actually really, really useful for things. Just so you know, Valheim actually does there's a lot of the game that will cause rain and all sorts of things that make it really hard to actually see in the game. So it looks like a structure of rocks. That's actually really good because when you find a structure of rocks like this, there's actually typically, so like this rock right here, if you were to use a pickaxe on these rocks, you would probably find some bones and some stuff like that to help you out. So yeah, lots of running, lots of just going around exploring, making sure that you don't run into things like trolls. Not right away anyway. There does not appear to be any thing in there. There is a bee's nest right here. So to get rid of that bee's nest, there's a couple ways you can do it. Okay, so you can do this. You can make a crafting bench, and once you find a valid location to place it. Okay, so there's the crafting bench. Okay, now back to the hammer. If you middle click on these, what will happen is the structure will fail, and you can actually bust down this structure, and you can take it with you. Okay, so you notice how that grayling right there, he got knocked backwards by my weapon. It's actually what's known as a critical hit. So everything in this game revolves around the stamina of the player. So if you don't have enough stamina to do something, like right there, the game won't allow you to do it. Like that includes running, that includes fighting, that includes everything. Food increases the stamina gain that you have depending on the food that you have. So if you have some decent food, it'll give you a decent amount of stuff. Structures is a really good way to remove and get plenty of wood off of that. I will deal with the dumb bird later. Okay. Okay. So we do have a bee. That's helpful. Logs, little planks, not bad. Alright. We do need to find a structure, or make a structure. A decent sized one, at least. Ah, berries, good. These will come in handy. raspberries are a really, really good food source right off the get-go. If you hold control, it's actually crouch. Right off and then you got these little obelisks that are around that you can go and look at. Okay. I don't want to venture too far because you end up running into those. Okay, raw meat, crude bow. So that's how you make a bunch of that stuff. You gotta really, really work at it. The raft is terrible, so if you're looking at making and playing this game, don't make the raft. It's just bad. The only way to get that recipe unlock is by just simply, grabbing up some leather scraps. And I do need these boars because they will help make a bow. Alright. Yeah. There's all that. Now you can breed the boars. I've never actually done that before. But I do have another profile that is a lot further along than this one. There are certain wood types that you can and can't harvest with the axe because they're too hard, simply. So you just have to get enough of your wood types to actually go and get those. Okay, so you see how those deer are over there, and in order to do anything with a workbench, you actually have to have it covered. So just kind of exploring around. You open up your map, you're actually able to see where the actual boss is, the first boss is. But in order to access that first boss, you need to get access to the deer trophy, which you can get a bunch of. It doesn't take long to get the deer trophy, really. Almost every deer drops one. Not every, but pretty darn close. So right now, it's just a matter of hunting down a little bit of stuff. There's a boar right there. Hello. Graciously accept your bits. Thank you very much. The boar trophy doesn't actually have any benefit. It's mainly just for comfort level. You can actually create a kind of like a trophy stand, and it's really really helpful. Because the more comfort you have, the more rested bar you'll have, and the more rested bar you have, the easier it is for you to do things. Bye-bye. That guy dies, and there. So one of the benefits of this seed right here that I already see, and this is a completely different seed. I don't even know what seed this is. See if I can kill this thing. Aw, dang. Yeah, swimming also takes stamina as well. So everything you do in this game takes stamina. Oh, I am at work, Eklos. You don't think this is hard work? I mean, come on. Running around and collecting a bunch of resources? That's pretty difficult. Yep, there we go. Alright. So, the little shack that I left here, I left it there on purpose. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the mace, or the hammer right here, and I'm going to put the workbench. Gonna put that workbench. No choppy choppy. So we're gonna get rid of this structure because it does not need to be here, and then I will rebuild it. And the structure itself will self-destruct because it doesn't have any supports. That's one of the other key things in this game is that when you build a structure, it has to have support because if it doesn't, yeah, it kind of falls over. It's actually really useful when you're taking out larger structures because the game will actually destroy itself. All right, talk to Moron there. Anyway, he'll go away. Go away. All right. There. Now that all that's done. Okay. Now if you right-click, you'll be able to open up your building items. Typically, what I do is I start with a half stair. The half wall. And you start with like a 3x3 room, basically. And that will give you at least a decent size room. It's nothing too fancy, but it's it's a big enough structure that it keeps things from killing your face. Especially at night. Okay. So instead of the wood door I use the actual gate because it's just better. Okay, okay, we'll grab the floor planks, we'll put those guys in. You can rotate and be all fancy if you want, you don't need to be. There we go. And then nice part is it just snaps right in place. You don't even have to work terribly hard for it. Okay. Put all this up. And once all that snaps into place, yep, that's good. That doesn't belong there. Okay. And now what you really need to do is if you're playing this, create a little bit of an awning here. And it's specifically so that way you can bust this. And then when you replace it, make sure you put it underneath the structure here. So you can repair your tool. Because otherwise you can't repair jack. Alright. Go back to building. We'll put a little staircase up here, because why not? There we go. Alright, and now we can finish building the house without actually, without actually running out of hammer durability. Building. What we'll do is we will put that guy on top of there. Jump. There we go. Put that guy right there. Alright. And now we just need to go get a little bit more choppy done, and we'll have enough trees to finish the house. You get yourself just a nice small structure, nothing too terribly big, because you don't really need a big structure right off the get-go. Just something quaint for right now until you can get other materials and get yourself a little bit better established. So just go down here and just choppy all these little shrubbery things down. Get rid of all that. Like I said, I'm trying to basically beat the clock here because it's starting to become nighttime. And nighttime is dangerous, as shown. Especially without armor. There he goes. Alright. There's that. Okay. And of course there's a world save. There's that. And we'll select that and we'll wait. And I will be right back. Alright. And I am back. Put the roof completely on. Alright. And then we go grab a... Let's do a minor thatch roof. Just the small one. Don't need to be too sophisticated. And then we throw on the crossbeam here. Crossbeam 1, crossbeam 2, and then we put in the wall here. There. Nice little barn. Now that I got the barn made, go over here to the workbench. We can make a torch, but I don't need to make a torch. I need to go into here to furniture, and this will make a small lamp. So it kind of gives you an idea of... Okay, now that we have that established, okay, go ahead and break out the back part of this. Alright. Take a little bit of the floor, we're going to go into here, we're going to grab a little bit more, and we're going to make a little chimney right here. Okay. Go there. Go there. Go there. And then we will do a half wall here. Okay. What I need to do is I need to grab just a little bit more wood off of the trees out here. And that will give me the ability to make a campfire. And that campfire is going to be really helpful right at the beginning because you're going to use it for a couple things. So the raw meat that I have in my inventory, or that I don't have in my inventory yet, but you get it off of deer, you get it off of all sorts of different mobs. You can get it off of wolves. You get it off a lot of different mobs in the game. And what that will give you is that will give you a decent food source right away. You know, the wood, or the meats and stuff like that. So, let's go here. And just so that way, if it does rain, okay, I'm going to go up here. And we're going to give myself a ladder because, you know, God knows I can't jump. There we go. Alright, now, if I give it a 45-degree angle, so if I give it that one, it won't work because it's not steep enough. But if I give it this one, it will. And then you just put a couple little decorative things around it, make it look all pretty and fancy. There we go. Okay, now what that'll do is that'll provide me with the what I need for the exhaust of the chim or the what you call it? Yep. Okay. Yeah, that'll provide me enough exhaust for the campfire. Okay. So we go in here, and there's one other tool I need to make, and that tool is actually the hoe. So very similar to Minecraft in this regard is that the hoe is very useful in raising ground. However, to raise ground it requires rock. That's why I was grabbing some earlier. So if I raise the ground, you left click and that'll raise the ground up just a little bit. Okay, that's all you need to do is just raise that ground up just a micro fraction so that way you can actually do things. And then once you're able to make a campfire, go ahead and plunk the campfire down there, and that will give you a decent, source now of heat. So go ahead and throw in some campfire wood. I'm gonna throw a little bit of resin in these torches so I can actually, see, keep going with what I'm doing. All right, now if you go into furniture, notice I can't make a bed yet. I don't know why it won't allow me to make a bed yet. Oh, there it is. There's the bed. But it requires 8 wood to make the bed. So very simple. Just go out here and choppy some more small trees. And then once you make the upgrade, so I can almost make the upgrade to the system right here. But I really want to make that bed though, because that way. Okay, now the bed has to be actually near the campfire. It doesn't have to be like right next to it. It just has to be near it. And then the bed also serves as not only your spawn point, but it also serves as a resting point for your character. So that way you can actually rest with your character, and you can not only skip the night, but it also, if you had furnaces or anything like that, it would also run with those as well. So quite the handy little machine. Quite the handy little thing. Now, if I go into miscellaneous, I actually need to make one of those guys. Now what that is this is a cooking station. So if I had meats or anything like that, I could actually cook it. So it is daytime, which is good. Okay. Now to make a crude bow, let's go into here. So I can make a flint knife. I could also make a flint head axe, which I just need a little bit more of that. But I would really like to make the flint upgrade. Okay, crude bow requires 8 leather scraps and 10 wood. I only have what is it? 5 leather scraps. So I do need to find some I do need to find some boars to take out, and then that will give me enough leather to do what I need to do. Okay, one of the other things that I'm going to set up really, in just a few seconds is actually going to be the bee's nest. So let's go ahead and we'll actually set that up. So I need some actual wood for that. So I've got 7 biddies. So when you chop down a tree, try not to get hit with it, because it really hurts. Oh, this axe is so terrible. So used to having a better axe. Yeah, try not to let the log roll into your face, because yeah, it hurts. It can kill you. It's really simple. Okay, now that that's gone, the log will actually bust into a couple pieces. So you can actually grab up a couple more planks and stuff from it. It uses a little bit more durability to harvest logs, but it gives you more planks out of it in the long run. So notice how they give me 10 compared to some other stuff. And yay, now it's all foggy here. Joy. Like I said, the visuals on this game are very kind of eh.
So, grayling. Okay. So I lied. You can block with the weapons, but it's just you're blocking with a weapon that's just bad. that's really bad. Okay, so we're going to crafting. We're actually going to set up that. Okay, that upgrades the workbench to rank 2. Rank 2 allows you to not only upgrade your tools, but it'll also allow you access, sometimes it'll allow you access to different things that you normally wouldn't be able to get access to. So, flint axe requires 6, but if you go into the crafting here, there's another upgrade that you can get, but you gotta unlock it, and I think it's the tanning rack, but it requires deer hide to do that, and it also requires flint. So, in order to get that, I gotta go find some more boars, which in this junk is really hard to do. So we're gonna actually head a little bit further south, right over in this kind of area, and see if I can find some more boars and stuff. Because if I can find a couple boars, then I can actually get my my bow, and once I get a crude bow, then I can actually start farming up the deer, and that will give me a little bit better armor to play with. The best armor you can get before you fight elk there is I believe, a tier 2 leather armor, which is actually, or this is, I think, rag armor. Yeah. So the rag tunic. Whereas if you kill enough deer, you can make yourself some leather armor, and that stuff's really good against elk there itself. Not the greatest, but not the worst either. It's better than having nothing. Which, I mean, if I really wanted to, I could easily go kill elk there. It wouldn't take much. The benefit of having storms and stuff is you can walk through the shrubberies and stuff like that from this. You get lots and lots and lots of stuff. Okay, so we're gonna grab up. I think this thing requires like 15 flint or something like that. It's ridiculous. There are total biomes in this map. There are several. If you scroll out, so up at the top you have one biome, and at the bottom you have another biome, and then there are several biomes spread throughout the globe of this map. There's also a merchant. So wherever I find the merchant the first time, that's where it's going to be permanently. And yeah, it's also unfortunate if I get wet because it takes more stamina to run. Especially right at the beginning. Ah, nice, another little structure. Boar, hello. No, I was gonna say, no leather scraps yet. Cheapo. No leather, nothing. It's just like, jeez. All right. Now I do want this chest. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place it on a crafting bench, and just like I did before, I'm gonna actually bust it. There we go. And just like before, the structure will destroy itself. And you don't use very much durability on your actual tool itself. And you can destroy your crafting bench by just middle clicking with your mouse. So that's the scroll wheel, and you just click into it. Put that on my back. Oh, nice. Boar. It's got a surprise attack on him. That's amazing. You typically can't surprise them. Yeah, there's a couple other things that you can grab from this. There's, like I said, the main thing I'm hunting for is boar. Find a couple boar, then I'll be good to go. Just so long as there isn't, you know, like a plains biome on this main island, that would be great. Boar. Got a couple of them. Got one there and one there. Wink and leather scraps. That's the 8 that I need. Let's go ahead and murdificate some more. There we go. Finally got some raw meat after like 10 boars or something like that. That's just crazy. Alright. Now there's a couple arrows that you can make right off the get-go. Flame arrows are really, really good against elk fear. If you can get that, that's really helpful. Sometimes you won't be able to, just because you can't find enough mobs to fight, or you just don't get any off your saplings that you chop down, which is fine, because the regular wood arrows, like the crude arrows and stuff like that, they work just as good. It'll take you a little bit longer to actually fight Elkthir that way. And Elkthir's he's a boss, and it'll actually show a boss bar. So I'm planning on getting to Elkthir right away, but I would really like to get some of these deer gone, because then that'll give me access to decent armor. Cool. So necktails are actually really good food sources. Thank you for giving me one. It also makes a poison resistance potion as well. So if you need a poison resistance potion, it's a neat way to make it. Get these mushrooms. Okay. There's a couple mushrooms in the game. Dandelions serve a purpose for brewing. There's a couple other niche things. Hello. What in the world? Where are you going, buddy? Alright. There we go. Nice part is you can actually access markers and stuff like that on the game, and you can start, marking out your map. So if I was to find something that I want, I could actually just put a dot on it or something like that, and I could, mark it out and say, hey, here's this resource, or here's this thing, or whatever. Some more shrooms. And typically I do like basing right next to spawn because it's just really good. But notice how that the fire is actually, all the smoke from the fire is going outside, which is where it's supposed to go. Alright, so let's go ahead and make this crude bow. Let's get that going. I do need that. Alright. And then we're going to make some arrows. You can make some flint arrows, you can make wood arrows. I think I have to make the wood arrows first. And so upgrade, so like crude bow upgrade requires leather to do the upgrade. So to get that, you just roll out here, and the nice part is I got the arrows, and I do like putting my arrows on my bar. So go ahead and we'll flip that around. Let's see if I can find a. Okay, so notice how there's and of course I miss. Dang it. Typical. And of course I miss the bird, as there's a rock in his way. Yeah, I think I need feathers in order to do the bow. Dang it. keeps changing directions, and it's really annoying. Die. So it's a prime example of a 1 and a 2 star right there, because the 1 star right there is the 1 star deer gives you more resources. So I'm able to get more resources off the deer instead of not. It's like this boar right here, it's like, whatever, I will go over here and I will slap you in the face with the axe rather than waste my bow or waste my arrows on that. Alright. Oh, finally, now it's starting to clear up. Thank you. Now I can actually see down the coastline. Now I can actually see where the deer are. Oh, 1 second. Oh, boars. Good. Yeah, if you can breed up a couple of the high star uh, mobs in the game, you can actually get um, quite a few things off of those. So a lot of the early grind is just mainly just grabbing resources and stuff like that that you need. Yeah. Da, da, da. There's a deer right there. course, wind direction had to change. Nope. Had the wind direction stayed the same, constant, that deer wouldn't have saw me, which would have given me a little bit of an advantage because I could actually sneak up on it and then shoot it. But prime example of, you know, being a better shot. Typically, I'm not dealing with a bow that doesn't, it takes forever to charge. This thing takes forever to charge back. Oh, nice little campsite. Nothing here except a little bit of stuff. Yeah, the more you progress, the harder and tougher the mobs become. So you can actually get raided, and that's really bad, especially right at the beginning. And they'll raid you around your character. They won't raid you around anything else. So let's go ahead and create. Okay, so leather armor is quite expensive. So the leather tunic is in prime aspect shown. Okay. He rallies the boars. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yep. Prime example of of getting raided. Right on cue. Okay. Recover. A little bit of that. Recover a little bit of HP. Go up in here. And this will recover our HP a little faster rather than being at 1 point of HP, because, yeah, that's just bad. Delete a little bit of the honey. That's what we got from the beehive. There we go. Alright. Go grab up all those leather scraps that I just farmed up. Or just got, not farmed up. Okay. Here. Let's go ahead and do the pants, and then we will do the chest guard after we get enough of that. Right click, throw your armor on. You at least have something rather than nothing. Alright. Okay. Go over here, make a couple chests. Put one there. Put one there. And you can't put these on top of each other like this, but if you get yourself a floor, you kind of place it halfway up, you can actually put more chests right on top. But for this purpose, I am not going to be doing that. And if you control click, you can actually put everything in there that you want. So like I'm going to put all that in there. I'm going to put all this stuff in here. trophy. That can go in that one. Alright. And now, use me with this stuff. So go ahead and we will make ourselves a couple more of those. Couple more of the campfire things. Okay. There. What that'll do is it'll cook up the raw meat that you have right there, and that'll give you cooked meat. And cooked meat is very, very good at the beginning of the game. So. Oh. Yeah, and if you don't pay attention to your food, like I just about did, yeah, your food will burn and you will have coal, which is not very useful. Not very useful right at this beginning part of the game. Alright, there's that one. And throw some more of that on there. And throw a little bit of that action on there. A little bit more of the cooked meat. But yeah, the cooked meat is... so your health and stuff is actually right here. It's 40 health, 30 stamina for that. And this one is 15 and 15 health and 20 stamina. And then this is 10 and 20, and then the honey is 20 and 20. So it's actually really, really good that if you get an opportunity to make yourself some cooked food, it's better for your health and stamina. But of course, you don't want to just use that right away because you don't have a ready supply of it. So until you can get a ready supply of decent foods, you don't want to like burn through all your really good food just for nothing. Okay. And the rest of these necktails I'm actually going to throw in here because I do need them for other things. Alright. There. Now, so we got cooked meat and grilled necktail. That will help quite a bit. Alright. I do need a few more arrows. Let's go grab a couple more of those. Alright, there. That's 64 arrows. That should be pretty good. That'll probably outlast the durability of the bow, just because it will. Okay, you can also put your bow on your back too. Very similar to how you can put your weapon on your main hand weapon on your back. Yeah, but now with armor and a little bit more food, I can actually go out and do things at night rather than staying inside. So go ahead and we'll eliminate that guy. And right now I'm hunting for some deer because I need some. And notice how my stamina bar went up as well. Speaking of deer. Dang it. Keeps running through the forest, and of course, let's go around every little thing. just hunting for a few more deer. There's a couple boar right there. Yeah, I do need leather scraps. I don't know how many. Let's see here. I need 20 leather scraps. That's quite a few. And I'm at 2. Being on day 3. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Huh. Well, that is the Black Forest. The Black Forest is actually a really good place to get stuff. It's just very dangerous right at the beginning of the game. Sort of. Okay. Alright, no bee's nest in this one. That's sad. Alright. Okay. Now the real question is, how daring do you want to be? Plenty of boars up over here. Looks like we've got ourselves a nice, decent-sized starting place. Lots of trees, lots of resources, which is really good. Ah, cool, we found a farm. These farms are really handy because they typically have, a lot of these fence posts and stuff around them. They have these crops. They've got a couple boars. Looks like they have a deer. Make sure we ain't got nothing around us. Waiting on that world save so I don't have to deal with that. The hitch of that. Alright. A bit higher. And deer is down. It's best if the deer can't see you, because, yeah, they like to run off for some reason. Ooh, that's a 2-star. I would really like to keep a hold of that one. Feather, I will graciously accept that one, and that also gives me access to the fire arrow. Yeah, so what you do is you breed up a couple of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a pin right here. We'll say 2-star boar. There we go. There's a 2-star boar right here, and that guy will stay here. He won't go anywhere, thankfully. We can harvest the 2-star boar and get a little bit of little bit of the goods off of them. Takes a little bit of time to do that though, so I don't want to take too much time doing that. At the moment, anyway. Right. Where is your door? It's around here somewhere. It'd be a bad little spot if I didn't already make one. Yeah, I usually scroll all the way in if I need to see under the brush and stuff like that, because it's really hard to see underneath all this like shrubbery junk. Because you really cannot see. Alright. Gives me some more leather scraps. I'm up to 12 now out of the coveted 20 that I need for the leather rack, which is not easy to make right at the beginning, but takes a little bit of time to get to it. So there's another little shack over there. Just cross your fingers I don't find one of the abandoned shacks. That would be bad. Or the abandoned towns. Those suck. Those have dredgers in them, and they hurt a lot. Go ahead and grab the skelly bones. Grab a little bit more skelly bones. Looks like we have an abandoned tower. Those typically have, chests and stuff in them at the very top, right up there. Yep. So what I'm going to do is wish I had, several things of stuff on me. Nice. A little bit of amber, a little bit of gold. That'll come in handy when I meet up with the merchant, because the merchant is nowhere yet. I'm actually really close to Elk there. I didn't realize how close I was to him. Oh, there's another bee's nest along with a chest in here, so we're gonna open that guy up. Let's get a little bit more amber up there. Still only 2 deer hide. I think I only have, let's see, I had 8, so I need just a little bit more. Okay. That'll get you feathers. That'll only get you 3 though. So right now I'm at 6. Best time to hit the birds is actually in a storm, because the storm will prevent them from flying. Or if you're really good at shading. Not like I was earlier, where I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, but, nobody's perfect. Alright, so the merchant will always be in the same kind of biome. It'll always be, the merchant will always be in the Black Forest biome. Okay, so now I have the Grey Dwarves. that hurt a lot for you. Okay, move away. What about that guy? There we go. Yeah, the Grey Dwarves are pretty tough. They're not, impossible to take on, but they're more annoying than they are anything else. Open up that, and voila. Whoop, jeez. Damn it. Go into the bow. Thank you. Be surprised if I actually hit that. Oh my god, I actually hit it. Wow, that was a hell of a shot. Alright. That was an impressive shot. I am surprised. Surprised that even went through. That's a 1-star. Alright. There we go. Got another deer head trophy. Alright, and we'll go over this way. A little shack we can grab some resources potentially out of. There's a little vine growing on it. You can't use vines as decoration. Like that anyway. Unfortunately, you can't breed up like deer and stuff like that because that would make it a little too easy. So the first beginning portions of this game are very grind worthy. So if you're not used to the grind work of a game, this one's very grindy at the very beginning. It's very exciting too because you don't know what you're gonna get as far as seed or anything like that. So hang on. Nope, that's a miss. Of course, I hit just behind him, so he sits there and runs around like a chicken with his head cut off, and sits there and goes, "Oh, I'm panicked, I'm panicked, I'm panicked," because something was shooting at me. And then in a few seconds, it'll return. Nope. Dang it. Just when you think he's going to move forward, it's like, nope, I don't want to move. Of course, sits there and stops on the shrubbery. And of course, there's a tree in the way. course, out of stamina, so I can't run. Come on. Run. Catch the damn deer. It's not hard. Of course, swing when I don't need you to swing. Prick. And damn deer sits there and freaking runs away every 2 seconds because he doesn't want to get hit with an arrow. It's like, damn it. Alright. Some more raspberries up. Yeah, raspberries are probably the easiest thing to find if you just go into the the biome here and the meadows biome, which it tells you what the biome name is. Actually, right up in the corner, in the top right corner, it'll tell you what biome you're in. So far, there's meadows, there's black forest, and then there is swamp, which is pretty nasty right away. But once you get your armor and stuff, it's not too bad. And then you have the mountain, and then you have the plains being the worst of the biomes currently. There's also the ashlands, which isn't really that hard, it's just annoying in some regard. So, seriously. And of course, you run out of stamina, so that means you stop wanting to shoot, which is annoying. And then just as I release my arrow, oh, I gotta change direction. You're just about to shoot me. Let me flip directions on you. That's annoying. Right. Go into this box, we'll draw that. And that makes the leather. So there's the leather helmet. The leather neck, there it is. So leather helmet is 6. And then the tunic is also 6. So if I do the helmet, that'll give me that. Alright, there. Go ahead and throw that on. There. Brain bucket acquired. Alright. Alright. There's the 15 bits of flint that I need. I already have the leather or the scraps for that. Now it's just a matter of putting the rest of the pieces together. Okay, and then I should be able to make some fire arrows. At least a couple of them anyway. It takes 8 resin and wood to make a fire arrow. Whew. That's pricey. But well worth it when you're fighting elk deer. Alright. I think that is where I will stop it for tonight. Everybody have a good night, and I will probably be streaming again on... Let's see. Yeah, I'll probably be streaming later on. Probably later on either over the weekend or on my normal schedule, which will be on Wednesday next week. So everybody have a great night and enjoy.